Hey everybody, it's time for another Mini Mondays, and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up on Season 5 of Samurai Jack. Now before I even say a word, please bear in mind there are spoilers here. I do want to talk about the final episode specifically, so if you haven't seen them yet and you want to, please don't watch this video. Watch it afterwards, because I don't want anyone blaming me for spoiling anything, because I certainly was spoiled a lot of it. So yeah, spoilers, not telling you again. Okay. So, Season 5 of Samurai Jack. We've been waiting 13 years to see this season. Well, I have, anyway. And, yes, so it aired on Adult Swim as opposed to Cartoon Network because they wanted to put a more mature edge to it, so they were allowed to show a lot more violence and blood and sexual innuendos. I don't mind that. I actually think it's a good idea because going with a more mature tone for the final season really sort of gives it more gravitas, you know, it makes you feel like things are getting really serious. I mean, the world has been fucked for 50 years by Aku. Well, I mean, it's been fucked for a long time, but since the ending of Samurai Jack, it's been 50 years. 50 years have passed. Jack hasn't aged at all, but the world has basically gone even more to shit because all the time portals have been destroyed by Aku, which means that Jack doesn't have a way to get home, and he's completely given up hope. He's totally despondent, and he's just become ruled by anger and sadness. Now, I think the way that they handled Jack's character in this season is perfect. In fact, it has a really good mix of both. It shows that Jack is fed up with trying to save everybody. He's seen so much shit, so much terrible shit. He's done some terrible shit too, that you really feel his grief and his sadness, and desperation, loss of hope. It's great. I think it's perfect. And even when he goes back to being more like regular Samurai Jack near the end, it feels right. It feels like he's gone back to the way he was. He's not all grumpy, grouchy, or anything like that. He feels like he's gone back to his more, sort of pure, brave, innocent kind of form. So they still managed to maintain that even after 13 years. And a lot of stuff was maintained, actually. The art style is still incredible. I still love it. The painted feel. Everything about it is beautiful. It's detailed. It's lovely. It feels like coming right back home, even after 13 years. So I appreciate that they adhered to the art style as best as they possibly could, and I think they achieved it with, like, flying colors. I thought it was perfect. What I don't think is perfect is actually one problem that it feels wrong of me to complain about because I know they couldn't do anything about it. But I don't like Greg Baldwin as Aku. So, I know Mako Iwamatsu has been dead for about 10 years, and it's very sad, obviously, and obviously a dead person can't reprise their role as a character, but Greg Baldwin, he's trying his best, I give him props for that, but the problem is that he doesn't sound like Aku. He sounds like a guy trying to sound like Aku, and I know that doesn't make much sense, but it just sounds like it sounds like he's, just forcing it maybe a little bit too much. Like he's trying too hard to sound like Mako, so he just sounds a bit silly in comparison. Like Mako Iwamatsu always had a good balance between comedic and intimidating. Greg Baldwin's performance is just comedic. It's silly. Aku is silly in this season. He isn't intimidating at all. He doesn't do anything in this whole season, which I think is frustrating, because Aku, despite the fact that he did kind of sit around and do nothing, he was an active villain. He did actively taunt Jack, but in this season he just kind of sits around until the last episode-ish and doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits around and has skits, which isn't what I like about Aku. I like that he can be funny and serious at the same time and still be a good, intimidating villain. That's what I liked about him. It's just not here. So I give props to Greg Baldwin. I really do, but it's just not good enough. I just don't like it. It's not a worthy Aku. I just don't like the way Aku is portrayed here. The only new major character is Ashi, so it's a female daughter of Aku, one of 7 daughters of Aku who are sent to kill Jack. Now, she started out as really, really annoying to me. I thought, you know, she's just gonna be like, oh, she's just gonna be, oh, not trusting of Jack and yelling at him all the time and everything like that, and it's like, ugh. And yeah, for the first couple episodes, she was like that. But later, yeah, I thought that she actually got a lot better when she stopped yelling at Jack and actually became on his side. I thought she was a lot better. She's very cute, actually. I think she's a cute character, too, with her little smile. But the problem is that their entire relationship, Jack and Ashi's relationship, was totally spoiled to me, so yeah, because people got upset about it on Tumblr, which I know people getting upset about things on Tumblr is like saying the sky is blue, but I don't understand why people are upset. So people are upset from what I heard, I'm not sure if this is entirely true, but they're upset because Jack pursued a heterosexual relationship. You do know that heterosexual relationships are like regular relationships. Just because it's in 2017 doesn't mean they have to be gay. Has Jack ever had any inkling, any notion that he's been gay before? I don't understand that mentality. I don't get it. I know that doesn't have anything to do with the show itself, but I'm just saying is that maybe I would have liked this revelation of Jack and Ashi's relationship if it hadn't been totally spoiled to me by a bunch of Tumblristas screaming about how Jack is in a heterosexual relationship. It's ridiculous. Like, who cares, you know? What I do care about is that Ashi has more combat, or more fight time against Aku in the end than Jack does. So, okay, let me get into that. The finale, it's definitely better than taking care of a fucking baby, I'm not saying that. It's definitely a much more conclusive ending. But is it a better ending? Is it the ending for the show? It's better than the comic ending, for sure. The comic that came out that was sort of the non-canon precursor to season 5, that didn't, it had a similar ending, but it wasn't as good. This one was fine. I mean, it was cool to see all of the characters coming together and fighting Aku and everything. That should have been the 9th episode, though. All the characters from the past coming to fight Aku. The last episode should have been nothing but Jack fighting Aku. That's it. Just nothing but that. It should have been a one-on-one, silent confrontation, Jack versus Aku, good versus evil, and in the end, both of them should have died. And I know that sounds weird. I'm not averse to happy endings necessarily, but I've gone on record saying that happy endings shouldn't be happy if the characters don't deserve them. What Jack deserved is a hero's ending, not a happy ending. A hero's ending is where they die in the end, but it cements them as a hero. It means that their image can't be corrupted. You know, that's how you do it. That's how you cement a character as a good, heroic, brave character who sacrificed their life for the greater good. That's how you do it, and I honestly thought that was the way they were going. But instead, Ashi gets, like, the bulk of the combat against Aku, and the fight against Aku and Jack is, like, 2 minutes, maybe not even. Yeah, for people who are saying the ending is rushed, I see where you're coming from. I'd say the final confrontation is rushed. I think that, yeah, like, they should have had one episode with all the people who are on Jack's side fighting Aku, and then the last episode should have been just Jack and Aku alone fighting each other until the end, and both of them should have died. I think that's how I personally would have handled it. I know it's pointless to say how I would have done it, but I'm just saying. So, I wouldn't call the ending a disappointment necessarily, but it was not at all what I was expecting, so, but it's a better conclusion than taking care of a baby, I will have to say that. So, overall, I do think that Samurai Jack was and is one of the greatest cartoons of all time. It has a conclusive ending now, which is good. You know, a lot of future generations won't realize the sadness of seeing that amazing cartoon ending by taking care of a fucking baby. But, you know, so yeah, I do think it is one of the greatest cartoons ever, but I think my score still has to stand at a 4.5 eyes out of 5. Because, yeah, while the ending is conclusive, it just isn't the ending I would like for Jack and Aku, and also, you know, Greg Baldwin's voice, which, again, I know it can't be helped, but it's something that bothers me, so, yeah, but still, amazing cartoon. I'm so glad they had the opportunity to finish it. You know, even after all this time, it shows that, well, that which is not dead, which can eternal lie, but in this case, it's a good thing because Samurai Jack never got a real conclusion anyway. So, I'm proud that the people, everyone involved, put their hearts out, they put in the effort, they maintained the style, the tone, everything. They did their best to make sure that this season was the best that they possibly could. And I commend them for that, for sure. And I understand why they wanted to give Jack a happy ending. I do. I know it's not a perfect happy ending. In fact, I really love that last shot of him standing with the tree. That is a gorgeous shot. Like, I'm probably gonna make that one of my wallpapers, to be honest. It's beautiful. But, yeah, it's just not the ending I'd expect for him. So, Yeah, obviously, I'm gonna say, if you haven't seen it already, check out Samurai Jack. I can't stress that enough. It's one of the greatest cartoons of all time. It's amazing, and even though the 5th season is different from the rest of the series, it's great in its own right, in the fact that they ramped up the violence, the adult themes, everything like that. It's a brilliant cartoon, once in a lifetime, and I'm so glad I had the privilege to see it in my lifetime. And that's all I have to say about that.